After a bunch of hours of just trying to brainstorm and come up with something that I'll be happy with. I'm so stoked about this. This is my bandsaw. It is just a Wen vertical / horizontal bandsaw. It's not very good in the verticals. It's mainly used just to cut stuff with, right? Just in the horizontal style. But honestly, I don't think it does that great of a job. I could keep trying to tweak it, but I've tried before and it just doesn't cut properly. For larger stuff, it doesn't do the best job at cutting straight and cutting even. So what I'm thinking of doing is converting this bandsaw here into a vertical style and building a table for it. I know a lot of people have done projects like this in the past, but they use the portabands. So a lot of like the Milwaukee portaband or the DeWalt portaband or even the Harbor Freight portaband. And for this project, I'm planning on using this giant 5-inch beast. So it's going to be something a little different than what everybody else does. And I know they sell kits online. I think Swag makes kits for the portabands. But since we have something a bit different, we're going to have to do something custom. So let me show you what I got planned. Alright, so again, here's what I got going on. This is my bandsaw. It's a Wen. I'm very certain many other companies make the exact same thing and just rebrand it. Like I think Clutch makes a bandsaw. So this might actually be applicable if you have one of these and you don't really like it and you want to convert it to vertical style. It is, and by the way, it is basically just a horizontal. It doesn't really do too much as a vertical. It doesn't even go all the way up, as you can kind of tell. But what I'm kind of planning on doing is making a table for it. This is the table size that I kind of want to go with. So this will just sit in here like that, and this will be a 16 by 12 inch table. So the only things I have to figure out is how I'm going to mount the bandsaw to the table. So what I'm planning on doing right now is just taking off the bandsaw from the base unit and just trying to figure out the measurements, how high I want the bandsaw off the ground, as well as what I'm going to need to replace to get this to work, like this bolt. I'm going to have to switch this bolt out to one that can sit flush with the new table, as well as just figure out, you know, how to mount this part right here, since there is a bolt that goes through it, and this is pretty heavy with this giant motor. I'm probably gonna have a piece that connects right here to the bandsaw and then just comes up, and I weld it onto the table here. So now I'm gonna unbolt this and we can start taking some measurements. Alright, so I got the bandsaw off the base here. Now it's basically just a giant portaband. It's kind of strange though, how this bolt is crooked like that. I don't know if it came like that, but it doesn't even look like it goes to anything. It's just kind of there. And this part I still have to remove. Looks like the nuts on the back side, so I'm probably going to have to disassemble the blade and take all this off just to take this off. So I'll probably get started on that, and then we can start taking some measurements.
Come on.
Whew, that was tight. That. Cool. And there's the bent screw. Alright, cool. So now that I have everything off here, this is actually a pain in the butt to take off. It's super tight. I'm going to start taking some measurements. I'll measure the distance from this hole to where the table is going to sit, just so we can make a piece that'll weld onto it. And I'll probably start coming up with some ideas on how to do it, how to make it, and how to make it all look and stuff. Yeah, you do have to take the wheel off and the blade and stuff. But yeah, I'll just start taking some measurements, and then we can take it over to the computer and design something up. Okay, so after a bunch of hours of just trying to brainstorm and come up with something that I'll be happy with, I think I'm finally done here. This is the final product. We're just going over the time lapse right now. Some key features are the table itself is going to be 16 by 12. I made it out of 1/4 inch, the top part, and I made the legs out of 1/8 inch. And there's also some keyways here that I cut out just to make everything easier when I go to fab everything up and weld it all up. There's also this bottom flange here. It took me forever to measure out and figure out how to measure, but hopefully I got it right. That's what's gonna bolt up to the bottom of the bandsaw, and then there's gonna be another screw that goes somewhere over here that I'll drill out for the top of the bandsaw, just to make sure everything is perpendicular and square and stuff. But yeah, this is the final design. Didn't come out too shabby. I think it looks pretty cool. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have this cut at my job. They have giant laser cutters, so hopefully they'll be able to hook it up, and we can get this cut up, and we can get to welding it. But yeah, this is the final design. I think it's pretty cool. Bam! Alright, so I'm back, and I got the parts all cut up and stuff for my work. They hooked it up, so I didn't really have to spend much money on it. But if anybody out there wanted to make something similar to this, or even this exact same design, just know this might be pretty expensive for you. If you want to do it through a website like Send Cut Send, using 1/4 inch steel and 1/8 inch steel, I'm guessing it's probably going to run upwards of $150, $200, if not more. Honestly, I really don't know. I'm just guessing, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty expensive to get something small like this cut up. So with that being said, I think I'm just going to go ahead and start figuring out how to tack everything up. Probably try to set up some kind of jig on the table so I can make sure everything is squared when I tack it up. I'm not going to fully weld it yet because I want to see if the bandsaw will even fit on this table that I made up here. I'm hoping it does. I really am. Hopefully all my measurements are correct. Something cool I thought I'd mention is this tungsten holder that somebody made and I 3D printed. It's pretty cool. And check this out. I also 3D printed a tungsten grinder. It's an attachment piece for just a standard Dremel tool. This is one I got off of Amazon a while back, and I found an adapter for it, so you can run a diamond wheel inside and use it as a tungsten grinder. So just thought it's pretty cool, and just thought I'd mention it. But yeah, so let's get to tacking everything up, and let's see if this bandsaw even fits. Probably start with this. Alright, sweet. So I got the table tacked up just in a couple spots. It's loosely held together, and same with the bandsaw, I guess. It's just the original bolt here. That's kind of just holding it in place for now. It's resting on the table actually, just because it's tilted back. Once I put the top screw on, everything will just kind of come forward a bit, and hopefully it'll be square with the table. But it seems to fit. Everything seems to be kind of where it's supposed to be. I know it doesn't look that way right now, it's tilted and stuff, but I think once I tighten everything up, it'll square up. And if anything, I can just move this bottom flange here. Once I weld it out, if it's off by a little bit, I can always just bend it and get it to fit how I want it to. But it seems to be, you know, it's a table. It's all, nothing came out weird or ugly, so I think it looks pretty sweet actually. All right, so I have a bunch of marks lined all along where I want to weld and where I want to tack. It's all along the table and the flange too. This is kind of my game plan for how I'm going to weld it out. I'm going to tack everything up first, just kind of stiffen it even more before I weld it, just to prevent warpage. I'm also going to be clamping the table down really well, and I'm also going to be using aluminum blocks to act as a heat sink. So as I go and weld, hopefully it'll absorb a lot of the heat. We'll see how that goes, but let's tack it up and let's weld it out. Yeah. All right, so I got everything welded up here. So these ended up coming out pretty good for the tabletop. There is some stuff that I regret doing. Funny enough, like if I was to go back and do this again, I think I wouldn't use as many stitch welds along the corners, along the tabletop. I'd probably leave it to 3 per side, and maybe 3 1/2 inch, maybe inch, full inch on the table legs here. I think all this excess heat did end up warping the tabletop a bit. I was trying to prevent that from happening, but I think I just didn't space them out properly enough. I think I was rushing it a bit, looking back. What else? I think I could have also done some more prep, you know. Like, I don't know if you noticed in the video when I was doing the time lapse of welding everything up, I gave up on using the clamps about halfway and just stuck with the chill blocks. only just because I got annoyed at the clamps, since there's a nut that you have to screw on the bottom and I had to adjust it a bunch of times. So I think I would have changed that up. Just use less heat in general. Could have even MIG welded the legs, and that would have helped with reducing how much heat we're throwing in this thing. And now that I'm looking at the design, I think what I'm going to do is, one of the first things, once we get everything bolted up and we start cutting, I'll probably cut some triangles so I can install them right here and then put a hole through them in case I need to bolt it down to the table if it slides a bit too much. But it didn't come out too bad overall. I'm not too mad at it. It is a little warped. Oh shit. Trying to do this one-handed. It is a little warped, but it's not the end of the world. I'm not tripping too much about it, honestly. And I'm also thinking, since we are going to fill these up with silicon bronze, we'll do that right now. It might actually warp the table the other way around. Hopefully, if anything, this will help straighten the table out a bit again. But yeah, overall, probably could have used less heat. Probably could have prepped everything more, cleaned everything up more. Things to do for next time, that's for sure. Okay, so now the plan is I could either just fill these up right now and then throw the bandsaw on and get started on finding where to drill the hole for the bolt that comes up here, or I can do that first. But I think what I'm going to do is just fill these up right now before it gets too late, and then we can start work on drilling out the hole right here. So I'm going to go ahead and weld these out, fill them up, and then hit them with a die grinder and get them as flat as I can get it. What the fuck? I just got murked. Alright, I'm back. I got the grooves here, I got the notches filled up with silicon bronze, and I just finished grinding them down, all of them. So next up, I already went ahead and marked just a general area of where I think it's gonna land on the bolt location down there. So I marked it, so now I'm gonna drill a hole, see how well it lines up. I have this as squared up as I can. It's kind of tricky since the blade is a little finicky to get it squared, so I squared it up on the bandsaw itself. So I'm just gonna drill a hole, and then I got a special tool to what's it called, undercut it? I forget, I don't know, look it up right now, but I'll drill the hole and then we'll move from there. Alright, cool. We have the countersunk hole. It's looking good. This kind of fits in there. It's a little tight. I have to screw it in and it'll go in. So let's get the bandsaw on and see how everything bolts up. So I got everything bolted up now, and it fits. Everything's working. It's not perfect. I don't know if you can see it, but the blade is kind of touching this side of the table. So for that, I think I'm gonna have to tweak this bottom bracket here, and I'm still waiting on the proper bolt to get it to go through there. This is just the one that came with it that connects to the table on the bottom of it, what used to be there. This is the proper sizing. It's an M16 by 1.5, but this bolt ended up being way too short, so I had to get a special custom one from McMaster Car. And this screw right here is a, hold up, let me check it. It's a M5 by M5-0.8. It's 10 millimeters long. That worked for me. If anybody else wants to do something like this, those are the bolts that I used. Those are the only bolts you need. Still not done. I still want to put a cover here just to protect any material from touching this part of the blade. And I have it on a zip tie right now. I'm probably gonna end up getting a foot switch. That way it's a little safer when I go to cut stuff. So the only thing left to do now is cut out some triangles to put on the feet, and just for more stability, and then should be done. Go send it off to get painted. My job also does powder coating, so we'll probably get this powder coated tomorrow, and yeah, we'll be done. So yeah, let's test it out right now and see how it cuts. Cool, so it works. Could probably just adjust this too. It is making a noise, like a clattering noise. Couldn't tell if it was this metal or if it was probably just a blade smacking against the side here. So I'll probably just either open this up a bit or just tweak the bottom and get this centered up to the gap here. But yeah, it's working pretty good, so I'm happy about that. Alright, so I just got back from my job. I ended up getting my table powder coated black, and I already test cut some stuff just because I was excited. But without further ado, this is what the table looks like. It's freaking sweet. Before I had it painted, I did just DA the whole top side here, just to give it a more roughed up look. I think it looks good too, just to kind of hide some of the scratches and future scratches that this thing is gonna make. Looks really good with the silicon bronze. I'm so stoked about this. And I am going to order a foot pedal for this thing, since it is kind of sketchy right now. It's just being powered by a zip tie and an on button, so kind of sketchy, but once we get the foot pedal, it won't be so bad. And I was pretty excited, so right when I got here, I set it up and just started cutting random stuff. And yeah, everything's working. Yeah, honestly, I'm amazed. I'm amazed this all worked. I'm amazed it worked this well. And I wasn't expecting it to get powder coated or anything, or even cut on my job, honestly. But they hooked it up, and I am forever grateful. This looks pretty cool. It looks legit. But yeah, table looks good. It's all painted. It's something custom. I know a lot of people on YouTube here made tons of videos on bandsaw table builds, but this one's a little different, so I thought it was worth sharing. And yeah, it came out really good. Oh, and one thing I was going to mention, I did say that I was going to add little triangles so I could screw the table down, but I ended up not going with that design, only because I just figured if I really need to bolt it down to the table, I don't think it'll need to be bolted, but if it does, then I can just get, you know, a piece of angle iron on both sides and screw it down to the table that way, just with bolts and just drilling some holes and stuff. So yeah, the table ended up coming out really good. I'm super stoked about it. It's funny now that I look at it, there's actually a bunch of stuff I would do different. I would love to make a version 2 at some point. Maybe I will, who knows, down the road, and just stiffen everything up and add some more bracing, make it stiffer, and yeah, I'd probably tweak some stuff here and there. But it's simple right now how it is, and it does what it's supposed to do. I'm still waiting on the main bolt that goes on the bottom of the bandsaw to show up. So I'll put the parts list down in the description, as well as I'll put the CAD file down in the description. I'll probably find some kind of website where I can upload the CAD design if anybody wants to do this specific build or just wants to use it to brainstorm, you know, your own ideas for something custom like I did here. Like I said earlier in the video, this is for a, what is it, a Wen? Yeah, this is for a Wen 5-inch bandsaw. And I know that there's very similar models out there, not Wen specifically, but just, you know, similar rebranded bandsaws out there. So it might work for those too. I don't have them to test them, but you know, if you guys wanted to, you can try it out on your own, see if it works, or at least, you know, check the measurements out. But yeah, I'm super stoked about it, and hopefully we'll see this in more videos when we do future projects. So if you liked the video and have seen it through this far, please do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe if you want more stuff like this. I don't know what I'll be doing yet. I have some plans for my car and my build. There's a lot of stuff going on there, but I'm waiting till I finish some stuff up to record. Yeah, I'll just be trying to come up with some more ideas for builds and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.